You think the podcast is your ally. You merely adopted the cast. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the microphone until I was already a man, and by then it was nothing to me but the Sunday Movie Marathon. Episode 3. How we doing, boys?
We got there in the end after a couple weeks away.
Do you know what? We've officially beaten Under the Blanket.
Yeah. That's our record. 2 episodes, but now we're on 3.
I think that's just our goal for everything, to be better than that.
It's not only just be better, it's just beat 2 episodes at least.
Beat
like,
movie.
Yeah. It's like when we were like, yeah, we'll do episode 3, and then like 2 weeks later we're like, we haven't even watched these movies yet. It was like, yeah, maybe we're just destined to fail at the second try for everything. But here we are, defying all odds.
Conflicting schedules, though. It's very difficult to arrange these things.
Yeah, now that I've started work, which is just really weird shift patterns.
Yeah.
Chris doesn't know when he's ever in.
Yeah.
And Max is a free soul, a roaming employer, some may say.
Yeah.
But anyway, episode 3.
Episode 3. We watched 3 movies.
We did.
We watched the From Dusk Till Dawn trilogy. And so, we're going to talk about them.
Yeah, I'd never seen any Dusk Till Dawn movies.
No, me neither.
I've seen the first one a few times. I loved it when I was about 14, 15, which I think is like the perfect
I thought you
age
were about
for
to say
it.
4. Just passively aggressive, insulting the movie.
No, I loved it at that age. I remember I bought the DVD when I was like 16, and for some reason it like stopped working like in the third half of the film.
Oh.
So I never got to rewatch
the third
it.
half?
Wait, where it got good?
Yeah, like it was like...
Wait, so you had not seen the ending of
No,
Dusk Till...
I had. I'd seen it a
okay.
couple times already, but like when I got the DVD, like it stopped playing when everyone starts getting bitten, like towards the end.
Yeah, well, spoiler.
It's a film about vampires. What do you expect?
Yeah, and you kept saying that to me, and I was like, yeah, it's a film about vampires, and then 2 minutes later I forgot.
You read
and the vampires turned up, I was like, what?
You read the blurb, I was like, I thought he was joking. The taxi driver, well, when I said to him, I was like, he's like, oh, so I got a taxi in from work, and the taxi driver was like, so what are your plans for like the next few days? I was like, oh, me and my friends are going to watch the Dusk Till Dawn trilogy. And he was like, he started talking to me about the first one. He said the other 2 were shit. And he was like, yeah, the first one, he's like, there'll become a certain part where you'll just think, what's going on? And I think I know which part he was talking about.
Yeah. This
So-
is my first time watching it since I was about 16, and I couldn't finish it. So...
What do you mean you
while.
couldn't finish it?
Too scared.
Because it stopped working.
Oh, I thought you were too scared.
No, because the DVD stopped working. I never got to finish it that time, so I've not seen it since.
Well, we have now.
Yeah, and the other 2.
And the other 2, yeah.
The sequels.
The
do you remember
trifecta.
what the names of the sequels were?
No.
The Blood Temple was one of them.
So there's From Dusk Till Dawn
The
from 1996.
Texas something was one of them.
Texas Blood Money.
That's the one. Yeah.
From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money, and From Dusk Till Dawn 3, The Hangman's Daughter.
Oh yeah, that's the one. I've got to make an apology as well.
Yes.
I said to Max I'd apologise for outing him this episode. So last episode he brought loads of notes with him, and I said, are you reading from a script? And then said, yeah, he is.
Yeah.
When he wasn't reading from a script.
I was not.
He had the bullet points.
All off the cuff for me, boys.
Do you know what? I want to get like a tablet at some point, like an iPad or something, and I'm just gonna make like notes what you do.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, movies for me, I think I'm very basic when it comes to watching movies. I think it was very shocking that I really enjoyed the first one, Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
We'll get into the reviews of them in a sec, but I do want to start being a bit more meticulous like Max is when it comes to like note taking, because Chris is just has it all in his head anyway, and I'm just there like, duh, that part was
Sometimes
good.
I took notes for the first 2 episodes. I just forgot this time.
Yeah, no, I just mean like obviously you take notes, but you just don't start with them because they're just in there anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas Max comes with a script, which is not a script.
No, it's just notes.
This is all scripted, actually.
I just have like bullet points, so you guys know. I have like a little booklet at home. I write down anything that basically piques my interest, I guess, stuff that I like and stuff that I don't like.
There was times throughout the movie where stupid shit would happen, like nothing would happen, and I'll just see Max start writing a note, and I'm like, how what are you noting? What has happened? He's put on a jacket, and you're like writing a note about it.
Don't like that jacket.
I was like, what the fuck is this? So I'm interested to see what you've got to say.
Yeah.
So let's start with the first movie.
Yeah. 1996, directed by Robert Rodriguez, starring George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, what a dynamic duo they were.
The two leading men. I quite like George Clooney in the role. He's very charismatic.
I really liked George Clooney in this movie.
Yeah.
I thought he played it really well.
I'm not a fan of George Clooney, but this is one of the few films that I enjoy him in.
Yeah, for about half the film when we were watching it, I was like, this is so different from the character that he plays in Signs. And then I realised that it's Mel Gibson and not George Clooney.
Of course, it starts in that like off-license shop where they're at like a petrol station or something.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Person.
So it's two bank robbers are on the run, and the movie starts like in a gas station for the Americans, and you get the sense that what's his name? Who's the fucking guy with glasses again?
Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, his character's a bit more deranged and
creepy. He's like a massive creep.
Yeah.
But not only that, but he's a bit more like mentally unstable than George Clooney's character. Just shoots a cop straight in the head at the beginning of the film, and then subsequently rapes and murders a woman.
Yeah,
like,
they're hostage.
20 minutes later. I've always thought that if I was going to like not abducted but held hostage, I think the way that George Clooney acts would be like the chill way that I'd want to get like hosticized.
Yeah,
if that's the word.
That was one of my notes. I'd love to be kidnapped by George Clooney and taken on a Mexican road trip. Just seems like a nice guy, you know?
So what did everyone... how are we going to start this review of it?
Did we like it?
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the movie. It was so different to what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I think it's a fun movie. Don't think it's amazing, but I enjoy it.
Do you think when it came out, it really shocked people, just the twist at the end, just what happened at the end compared to the rest of the movie?
I don't think so, because it was advertised as a vampire movie.
Would you reckon they were a bit confused then at the first two halves of the movie?
The first half of the film is literally just like a Quentin Tarantino crime movie. Like two people on the run, driving places with hostages. Then the second half's completely different when the vampires show up.
It's so weird.
I wasn't big on this movie.
Well, you're not?
No, not really. I thought it was quite boring and like by the books and just like... You know, you get like all the action set pieces and there's a lot of fun to be had, I think, in the action and like all the vampires and the practical effects, but that's sort of where it stops for me. I didn't really care about any of the characters. Quentin Tarantino's character dies like halfway through the movie or like towards the end, and I was just like...
What was his name? Richie?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I think it is Richie.
I don't know.
Of course, I don't care about him because he's a massive creep. He's a weirdo.
I will say that I did not have an emotional connection to any of the characters in that movie.
No.
And I was very... I don't know, like... I didn't understand the girl's choice at the end when she said to George Clooney's character, "Can I come with you?" And it's like, the only reason your whole entire family is dead is because... you were held hostage by these two characters that now you've definitely had Stockholm syndrome towards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So midway point through the movie, George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino's character take hostage a family in an RC. So it's a dad, his young
Harvey
daughter.
Keitel. He's there
Harvey
again.
Keitel from the last episode. So yes, a dad, his daughter, and their son. Not their son, his son.
Yeah, the kid from Spider-Man Homecoming.
Just doesn't age. And the dad's really religious. Well, used to be. Which, does that even come back into the movie at any point? Well, I know at the end he says like, because he starts. But no, because he says about
crosses, don't they?
Because he says about blessing the water and stuff and turn it into holy water. But he never does it.
Well,
The kid just fills a squirt gun up with water.
Yeah.
I don't think they show it, but it's implied that they did do it. But yeah, that's another problem that I have with
Show,
it as
don't
well.
tell.
Yeah.
That's
It's
like,
we got that.
That's a
well,
rule
don't
of
worry
movie
about
making, isn't it?
And they go into
Yeah.
like this room that's just happens to have everything they need to fight off vampires.
It was a very cliche. So when the vampires attack and everything sort of goes, shit hits the fan, they're like locked into this storage room of the belongings that of everyone that's been killed at this titty bar, which is where they're at.
the titty twister.
The titty twister, sorry, yeah. And it's got everything that they need in it to get them through this vampire apocalypse. Squirt guns, a crossbow, other weapons.
Because what was the excuse they gave? Like, oh yeah, all the truckers come here and put their boxes filled with miscellaneous items here. Like what?
Yeah.
Why?
It was
I
very...
think they said that the truckers park outside, and once they've killed them, they steal
they take all their
stuff.
stuff. Yeah. I was a bit confused about there's a fucking temple behind the bar and just no one has ever realised it because there's a few vans parked in front. But then when you made the comment the other day about how movies are more made for their time period that they're in, and then this was made in the 80s, I kind of compared 90s. Oh, never mind then, I won't finish what I'm about to say, it won't make sense. But it's very clear that it's like in that cheesiness realm that most 90s movies are.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino, this was kind of... It was around about the point where he just started making like genre movies, where he wanted to make movies like inspired by those genres and like copy all the tropes and stuff. That's when he was like, did Jackie Brown, which a lot of that is like a parody of blaxploitation movies, and obviously Kill Bill, samurai films and stuff like that. So I feel like you've got to accept that some of it he is obviously paying tribute to a lot of the cliches and stuff that would be in those sort of films.
Yeah.
He wrote it, didn't he?
Yeah.
What did we all think of Quentin Tarantino's acting in this film?
It's terrible.
Yeah, he's not a good actor.
Yeah.
This is probably his best performance I've seen.
Really?
Which doesn't say a lot at all.
Oh, that's going to be a joy to watch any other film that he's in.
Well, is it his best performance, or is it just the movie that I've seen him most in? He just acted a lot in it.
I don't know.
So he just had more material.
It's better than he was in Django, where he plays an Australian man.
Does he speak with an Australian accent?
Yeah, it's really bad.
Terrible. Yeah.
He's also in Pulp Fiction, and I'm pretty sure he just put his character there so he could say the N-word loads. Says it more than any other character in the film.
Yeah, I've never seen Pulp Fiction, so I can't comment on that. But it does sound a bit like a Tarantino thing to do.
Of course, if anyone knows anything about Tarantino, it's that he has a massive foot fetish, and that's really placated to, I think, if that's the word, in this movie. It's like they really use it.
Yeah.
Like there's a woman, there's like, they go to the titty twister and the stripper comes out and then she puts like her foot directly into his mouth and then pours rum down her leg.
He starts... Do you reckon he drank that and spat it into a vial? Was like, I'm keeping this.
Maybe he never brushed his teeth again, so he could never get rid of the taste of foot.
But
that's why he shuts all the interviews down. Shutting you down.
Shutting your butt down. Yeah, it's gross. I don't like it, and I don't like him really. I like his movies a lot, but him as a person seems just kind of like a creep.
Yeah, he's very, very fucking weird.
He was good friends with the Weinsteins as well.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, because they were the people who discovered him and put his films out.
Oh, this podcast is somewhat turning political now. Let's just steer this car back to the movie.
Yeah,
the announcer.
Bar. Yeah, and he just says pussy like 200 times.
You want pussy? We got the pussy. We got the pussy right here. You, my man, you want the pussy. You want the pussy. Stop saying it, man.
And he goes, we got dog pussy, we got chicken pussy.
We got bird pussy. I'm not entirely sure what just happened with the recording, but it froze.
Oh?
So, only for like 10 seconds.
Right.
But I don't know what I missed out on. Essentially, we just said Tarantino.
Yeah, we're just talking about pussy.
Bit of a weird actor. Yeah.
Sorry about that, if that picked up.
My laptop's just terrible, so I need to get this PC and hurry up.
But on those lines of, you know, the abundance of the word pussy, I really didn't like the way this movie objectified women. I thought if you're not like really like attracted to women, then maybe you're not going to get like as much out of this movie as maybe somebody who is attracted to women would get out of it.
Well, the first, like, I'd say half of the movie is pretty standard.
Yeah.
But as soon as they get to this bar, like, yeah, there's just an abundance of nude women. The whole dance that the girl does, which was a little bit, I think, over the top and overdone, because they go for like a whole song. The scene is like 3 minutes long, for the whole dance, and I thought it was going to somewhat play like an integral role, like she was, because she had such an introduction, and then it turned out that she was killed 10-15 minutes later and had no real impact on the movie. Because was she the one that bit Richie?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so she killed his brother, and then he killed her back.
Pretty sure she was just there for the foot scene.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, Tarantino was like, I want her to stick her foot in my mouth.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, when I said I watched this film when I was 15, it was like the perfect age. This film is a very teenage boy movie.
Yeah.
It's the perfect film for like a teenage
Just
boy, because it's got
a lot of titties in it.
Yeah, loads of swearing, nudity, gore. It's got everything you'd want at that age.
That's sort of just all it relied on, though, for me. It was like, yeah, isn't this like out there and like very mature for like a 15-year-old to be?
Do you think they made this movie intended more towards the target of men, especially young men?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Is that like a standard trope for Tarantino when he's writing scripts, or is this just an anomaly?
I guess kind of.
It does crop up. I will say that. Yeah. But obviously, this wasn't directed by Tarantino, but he did write it, and this is probably the most overt use of sort of pandering to men that I've seen in any of his movies.
Yeah. Gotta love his feet fetish, though. Foot fetish.
I personally massively prefer the first half to the second half.
Oh yeah.
I liked the first half. There's more for me. There is more character development, and I think that ended because strangely I liked the dynamic between the Tarantino and Clooney's characters. I liked the dynamic between them and the family. I can't remember any of their names.
Harvey Keitel and his two children.
And his two children, yeah. I really wish, like, when they said about like the dad being religious, and then Clooney was asking him like why he gave up his faith and stuff like that, and it was alluded to that his wife died, so he gave up believing in God. That just threw me back. It's just Signs. It's the exact same trip that happens in that. I don't know which came out first. Oh, this didn't it? Yeah. Signs came out later. Yeah.
That's just kind of a movie trope, though, to be fair.
Because I had watched Signs before ever seeing this, I was expecting it to be explored upon and something to come from it, not just to use it as a gimmick to create weapons to fight these vampires in the future, to try and save your family, which didn't happen. I mean, only his daughter survived, and even then she was just given a bunch of money in the middle of nowhere and told to live.
Go on your own, kid.
Yeah. Let's hope she could actually drive, otherwise she's fucked.
Yeah, she drove the RV, didn't she?
Pretty convenient that she knew how to drive.
That's exactly what I said. The end of it, isn't it? And you went, well, if she didn't, she'd be fucked.
Well, character development in this is very sparse. I think they use it as little as possible just so they can drive the story forward. They even give like all these side characters, they just stop the movie after they've finished killing all the vampires, and then they're like, oh, you know what, when I was a boy I was in Nam and I did this and I was a war hero. And I'm like, why are we listening to this random guy they've just met at the bar talk about like Vietnam?
Yeah, the black guy in the bar just started having having a monologue for no reason, and when I was listening to this and he was like, all my platoon died and I killed a whole squad on my own and escaped. I was like, you're definitely going to die in a couple of minutes now.
And like he was talking and then he'd cut away to Tom Savini's character because he'd been he was slowly turning into a vampire. They cut away and you'd think, oh, he's about to attack him.
Yeah.
And it'd go back to him still talking.
It was so
ridiculous.
so weird. But like that reminded me of the reminds me of the weird effect or editing choice they chose when Clooney's character comes back to the hotel before they kidnap the family, and what Weinstein's character, Tarantino's character, had raped and killed that woman, and so he's looking in the room like Clooney's character is, talking about what he's seeing or like how fucking stupid rich he is, and it just gives you like fragmented flashes of the body, but it's so weird, and
it's like a millisecond flash.
Yeah, and you were like, it's used to try to
disorient you. It's kind of shocking, like just seeing those images so like in such small amounts. I prefer that to if they literally just showed it, like lingered on it.
Yeah, like I get that, but
I think it really like shows the weight of what he actually did, that even like George Clooney seems pretty like shook up about the fact that he's done this.
See, I liked the beginning of the movie when like Tarantino's character Richie like kills the cop because he thinks the guy's mouthing "help me" to the cop. Needlessly he didn't need to kill him. It's just needless death. And then he's looking after this woman, tells her to get in the bed with him and watch TV, comes back and she's been raped and murdered. And then when they take the family hostage and he looks at the daughter and just imagines her saying something in a sexual nature, I was expecting that to be explored upon, because before that you kind of got an idea of how unstable this guy really is and how ruthless he can be. And then it's just like you kind of feel like after that moment, like there's like the daughter's going to die somehow through the hands of Tarantino's character, but nothing ever comes from that either.
They almost try and make you like the character after that and feel bad for him when he dies.
Yeah,
which like doesn't make sense at all, because you've like spent the first half of the film saying that this guy is like a horrible monster and a terrible person, whereas George Clooney's more of a man of reason, and although he's still quite a bad person, at least he has
a moral code,
and some sort of heart, even if it's just hidden. But Tarantino's character, the way they handle him is so weird.
Yeah, well, it's all fart and no poo in this movie, isn't it?
It's what?
It's all fart and no poo. All this setup with two characters, and they're like, oh, that could come back around. Tarantino's kind of a creep, isn't he? Look at the way he's looking at the little girl and like imagining that she's telling him to like lick her pussy or something, and then eat her pussy.
Rich,
and then like,
would you eat my pussy?
And then, like later on, and like when they're in like the caravan or something, he's like, yeah, you didn't you tell me to eat your pussy?
Well, he doesn't say it, does he? It's like, just still want to do what you said earlier. She's like, what did I say? And he went, you told me you wanted me to eat your... And he goes, Richie, stop talking to him.
Yeah. And that's like... And that ends. And that's just that.
That's just it, yeah.
So, yeah.
As soon as he gets to the titty twist, that's never explored. And I thought it was going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So it just seems to be... There's loads... The beginning part just seems like a completely different movie.
Yes.
Like there's so many loose ends and like avenues that they could have gone down that have just been left astray that you weren't explored upon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I massively prefer the first half, although the second half's like entertaining and like there's interesting, like good violence and the gore scenes and creature effects are good. I just don't like it as much, but I think that's just because they've connected two completely different movies.
Yeah.
If they were both like on their own, I probably prefer it more.
Yeah, I definitely would. What other notes you got for the movie, Max?
Dick gun.
Oh my fucking god!
There's like a standoff between some guy and like what is it?
Whips
George
his beard,
Clooney,
doesn't he?
And then
no, it's
like,
not George Clooney.
Who is it?
It's the George Clooney kicks the guy off the chair, and the guy that gets kicked off the chair walks over to another table with his beer. And one of the main vampire killer guys gets a whip, doesn't he? Whips his beard to him, and the guy pulls out a knife, and he just like whacks his foot or something, and on his crotch a fucking magnum just pops out.
Like, I wouldn't do that if I were your partner.
And then he just hits it back and it goes back in. It's so weird.
But this like super goofy as well. Like a lot of this movie is very goofy and it's trying to be quite funny in that way. And I did like that, but sometimes it just took it a bit too far.
Well, it just didn't really make much sense to pair it with such a strong and serious beginning, opening. I think the films that came out after 2 and 3, I just think they sort of like leaned on the fact that on the second half of the first movie, and they chose to go more of that, because I don't think in the other 2 movies is it ever as serious as what it was in the first half of the first movie,
except for the third one, which tries to be a western for the first half before getting to the vampires.
But it's still I'd say fucking cheesy, some of the stuff that they do.
One thing I will say about the first half of the film as well is the opening scene of the film is one of my favourite opening scenes in any film. I really love the opening bit.
What happened in the opening again?
Them in the gas station.
Yeah, very intense. It's like, because you hear on the radio, because the police officer is talking to the cashier, isn't he, about like these escaped convicts, and he's like, yeah, we're gonna be ready for them. And then when he goes to the bathroom, they just emerge, and it's like, oh shit, they've been there the whole time.
Yeah.
It was, that was a very good choice.
Police officer played by Michael Parks, who I really love. He's also in the third film.
Is that the guy, the sheriff?
Yeah.
I was like listening to him, and I thought he's speaking very, very softly. And you know what? If we didn't have the subtitles on, I probably wouldn't been able to hear him. So he just spoke really softly. I was like, "What's this guy saying?" But of course, we did have the subtitles on, and that probably helped. But and then he
speaks a bit like Max does in a podcast.
Just a little bit.
He'll open up really strong and then just go quiet. Look at the wave formats, Max.
How about that? Anyway. I got a few quotes here. They're like listening to the radio in the beginning, and then like a song comes on, and then the song says like the lyrics are like, "She pissed on the carpet, she shot my horse." I was like, what?
Is that the first one? Did you say?
Yeah. Was it like when they kidnap the people? They're like, "We're going to Mexico." And the girl's like, "What's in Mexico?"
Mexicans.
Like, Mexicans.
It's hilarious.
It's not George Clooney,
it's
is it?
Tarantino.
Yeah. We're going to Mexico. In Mexico. Mexicans.
Has anyone seen any other Robert Rodriguez movies?
I don't even know who he is.
I think so.
What other movies has he done?
He directed all 4 Spy Kids movies.
He
directed Shot Boy and Lava Girl.
Oh yeah, of course I've seen that.
He also did Sin City, Machete, Planet Terror, which
Sin City, did that have Tobey Maguire in it?
Yeah.
I've never seen Sin City. I've seen bits of it, but I couldn't imagine Tobey Maguire being in Sin City.
Yeah, he's like a villain in it as well. He's really weird.
He is his character from Spider-Man 3.
If only.
The emo.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Robert Rodriguez, to be fair. I've not really enjoyed any of his movies.
To be
apart
fair,
from this.
yeah, the Dust Till Dawn trilogy, I'd say the first one's decent, the other 2 aren't really.
Yeah.
The Spy Kids movies are just terrible. Shark Boy and Lava Girl was just terrible. He doesn't really seem to make good movies.
Funny,
it wouldn't surprise me if you said like he made one of the later iterations of a Friday 13th movie.
If only.
Funny though.
I just found I liked it. I thought the movie was quite good.
Yeah, it's fun. It just, my biggest problem is just it's 2 completely different movies that get jammed together and don't really work together.
What do you think of the like development over the film then with George Clooney's character and the girl? Because it seems to be like they actually grow to like each other by the end of it.
A little bit, but they don't really explain it very well.
No.
Just kind of happens.
I was half expecting him, like when he was getting the money out and giving it to the other guy, I was like, he's definitely going to give some to this girl. I was like, and then this girl was definitely going to say to him, "Can I come with you?"
Yeah.
And they both happened. It was very easy to tell that, but I understand Stockholm syndrome, but I don't think it works that fast.
No,
like it comes into effect, and I don't know, maybe she's been through a traumatic experience that no one really ever goes through, so it would cause...
Technically, so did he. He lost his brother.
Yeah, so maybe they do have that sort of connection, but then it just baffles me that it's like... He threatened to kill you all, like loads.
Yeah.
These aren't very sympathetic characters. These are barely characters.
But maybe that's a credit to the storytelling then, or the writing of the script. Like, you do end up like thinking like, oh, maybe I do like George Clooney's character.
I don't like any of their characters. I like George Clooney's character because he's like the.
Do you remember his
like
character's name?
Something Gecko.
Yeah,
Gecko.
the Gecko.
I mean, it's
brothers.
Gecko.
Yeah. What's his first name?
George. No, I don't remember.
Can you
any
name
of their names.
anyone's name, any character's name apart from Richie? Don't go in your notes. Just see if you can. You.
The daughter's name was Kate.
Okay. Anyone
Brie.
else?
No.
Right. I can't remember anyone's name other than Richie.
I only remember that because you just said it.
Yeah. That just shows how little the film. Well, just how little you were interested in the characters.
It's Spider-Man boy.
Oh yeah.
Who we thought was
What was his name?
Ned
then?
from Spider-Man.
Yeah,
but
Ned,
I
that's
don't think
it.
He
it
looks
was.
exactly the same.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
his
like it
name.
when he's like the guy's got the gun in the kid's mouth, like his son's mouth, and he goes, "Bring the Jap over here."
Oh my god. Yeah, there's like that part where like he's getting torn apart by vampires, and then like his sister has to kill him, so she shoots him, and then he explodes and then kills all the vampires that were trying to kill him.
And it's not like she has like a powerful gun or anything. It's just like a pistol.
revolver, and she just shoots him, and he blows up. I just remember when that happened, and Max was like, "Why did he blow up?"
That was the exact bit where my DVD stopped working when he blew up.
It was too powerful.
So I remember just how explosion would happen. It would just freeze, and then it skips to like the end credit.
Oh dear. Yeah. We got anything more to say about this movie?
It's all right. It's not amazing. Max didn't enjoy it.
Max,
I didn't love it, no.
how many bats out of 5 would you give this movie?
This is going to be a 5 out of 10 bats for me.
He literally just asked out 5.
Yeah, he always
like,
does it though,
fuck
doesn't he?
you.
He just goes 5 out of 10. He goes to 10 rather than 5.
Well, then just say 10 if I'm going to do 10.
No, because
You know what? I'll do it my way, okay?
It's my way or the highway. Like
we can
Limp
just
Bizkit once
convert
said.
it. So what did you give it?
A 5 out of 10.
Yes, it's 2.5 out of 5. 2.5 bats out of 5.
I'd give it 3.5 bats out of 5.
I'd give it 4. I really liked it. Really
Nice.
liked this movie.
That's fantastic.
Shame it can't be said for the sequel, Texas Blood Money. Does anyone want it?
Who wants to introduce this masterpiece?
I don't even know what happens in this film.
So there's another
There's-
bank heist.
Yeah.
I can't remember any character's name. So
You also fell asleep for the first 10 minutes.
yeah, so, no, I missed the part where everyone was rounded up. So essentially, these guys plan to rob a bank. So they all get to this hotel the night before. This guy gets this guy gets pissed off at all of his mates because they're watching porn and he's the only one with his top off, I guess.
Yeah.
And we'll touch upon the homoerotic nature of this film in 2 seconds. So then he leaves the hotel room, and then it just cuts to him banging someone who then gets infected. It turns into a vampire.
Yeah, because one of the other guys already left and he went to a bar, and on his way away from the bar back to
That's
the
right.
motel, he hits a bat and he goes back in.
The bar
It's like,
was the titty twister, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which is that? Yeah. So
it's got Danny Trejo on bar
that's
again.
the part that I missed, is when he fucking hits this vampire, which then turns out to be a person. These bats are actually people. And then so that's 2 of these, like 5 people are infected. They continue the bank heist. These vampires just are robbing a bank. And then there's only one of them left that isn't a vampire. And then they have a shootout with the cops that are there to...
Yeah, because there's a police detective that's going after them the whole film.
Yeah. And then, so they have a shootout with the cops and these bank robbers, but the one that isn't infected joins the police, and then... I don't know what happens in this movie. It was so fucking weird. There's a shootout at the end at this bank.
This movie sucks.
And a lot of homoerotic references in this movie. A lot of people talk about bumming someone else up the bum, like another man. There's 5 guys in a hotel room watching porn, and one of them's got his top off, just staring at the TV.
And then leaves to bang a girl. It's almost like he has to prove to himself that he's straight.
I'm not gay. There's nothing wrong with being gay, as Chris might oppose to.
This movie sucks. It's a bad movie.
This movie was fucking dreadful. It was so bad. I can't. Does anyone remember any of the characters' names?
No. There's a guy who.
There's the T-1000.
Yeah, the T-1000 from Terminator 2. There's also the guy who goes off to bang someone. He's in Breaking Bad, plays a character called Tuco. He's one of the main characters.
And there's Danny Trejo, who is in all 3 of the movies, by the way.
He is.
Which we've neglected to mention him in the first one, but...
It's probably because he's a shit actor, so...
Yeah. But he does a lot of university, like, films, doesn't he? Like, helps the kids out of their films.
Yeah. He was also in Breaking Bad. He's pretty good in that, to be fair.
Yeah, he's also in The Flash. He's not good in that.
Fair enough. And he's also in all 4 Spy Kids movies.
And he's also in a Call of Duty zombie map.
Hell yeah.
This man gets around. But yeah, this movie was fucking dreadful. There is no character development whatsoever. There's barely a plot to this film. None of the characters are likeable. Even the T-1000.
You say none of the characters are likeable. None of the characters are characters. They're just there.
Yeah.
They have no personality or anything. The acting's really bad as well. They just...
Well, I'm going to say, is he Mexican? The Rodriguez character?
Rodriguez? Robert Rodriguez?
No. Oh, shit, that's director, isn't it? No. The guy who goes off to bang the girl and then...
Yeah. He plays a Mexican character in Breaking Bad, so I assume. So.
And he was one of the worst actors in that movie.
Yeah, but one of the most
really
memorable.
Yeah, only because he takes his top off.
Yeah, that's all I remember him for.
That's his trait. He's the jacked guy.
He goes into a bathroom in a motel and bangs some girl.
Well, he doesn't do it in the bathroom.
No, but she turns into a vampire, and because a bat flies through the window, just happens to fly through the window where they are, and then bites
her to death
that
in this weird
hilarious.
Psycho reference.
But it was like, unlike Psycho, where it was tasteful in terms of like the length and what it showed. This was just too long.
Yeah.
And with all the quick cuts, I was like, I don't know what's going on. Someone's just lying in a pool of her own blood, and that's all I see.
They copied the shot from Psycho with the blood going down the drain.
Yeah.
That being said, there are some things that I like about this movie, and that being like I like some of the camera movements. Like there's like the camera moves with like actions that are happening, so like they're doing, like the guy is doing push-ups at the beginning and the camera's going up and down, and we see what he sees. Or like when they're like trying to break the safe at the end, the camera turns with the lock.
Oh yeah, like that was
There's
really
also
good, yeah.
The bit where it's on a fan.
When it's on the fan, yeah,
which they pretty much ripped off in It Follows, but did it a lot better.
Yeah.
So I did like some parts of that. There's like a split diopter shot in the bathroom.
Max liked the technical aspects of this movie. He didn't like the movie.
I like those select few technical elements.
It's not a bad thing.
And that's
the acting was terrible. The storyline was terrible. The script was terrible.
For a film it was a direct-to-DVD movie. For a direct-to-DVD sequel, it's got surprisingly like creative and well-done cinematography for a lot of it.
Yeah. Although, to me, this movie is worse in every way than its predecessor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And its successor as well.
Yeah.
No, I thought the third one was worse than this one.
Interesting. I think this is the worst of the trilogy.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I thought it was bad. It's not a good movie, but I think it just got worse and worse as the movies went on.
Of course, we touched upon the homoerotic energy, and of course, there's a lot of that, and you can have that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
It was just
like,
very out of
so
nowhere.
much, and I was like, why is this? but why is this here? And there's loads of like just these guys watching porn in the motel room. I don't know why they're watching porn together. And then the guy who's always got a top off, and like the amount of like penetration in the movie with like the stakes and like just the sex as well, I guess.
And then so this is the only only film of the trilogy that the final act doesn't happen at the titty twister.
There's literally one scene in the whole film there
with the titty twister. It's kind of the thing that links everything together. It's where the vampires culminate at the titty twister bar. They lure people in, kill them.
So they're all in the bank and they're trying to rob the bank.
It was also a bit weird. So in the first movie, there's the overuse of the word pussy. In this movie, two characters refer to each other by full names throughout the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
Every time they talk together.
Hey Bucky, Red Joy or whatever his fucking name was. Is Bucky and what?
Bucky and crap, I don't remember.
Let me
Cap.
I'm gonna IMDb this while you, because it was just so weird.
Of course, when they get to the motel, they get straight out of the car, and this one guy gets straight out of the car. He sees one girl, and she walks by, and he's like, "Hey, baby, el fucko."
Did I miss that part when I was asleep?
I think so. That's hilarious.
What happens?
He like gets out of the car when they're at the motel, and the girl walks by.
What character?
I don't know. There aren't any characters in this movie.
No, was it the Mexican?
I don't know who it was.
Okay, carry on.
But he just gets out and he goes, "Hey, baby, el fucko." Oh, okay.
These
There's
films
like after he has sex with the
Ray Bob.
Ray Bob. Bucky and Ray Bob. They were always saying each other's names.
Hey Bucky, we
constantly.
gotta get out of here, Bucky. The police are coming, Bucky. It's like,
I got you, Ray Bob. Don't worry.
it was just so weird. But carry on, Max.
Of course, there's that scene where the topless guy gets back from having sex with the woman in the other room, and like he walks into the room, they're still watching porn, and he's like, "Oh, she sucked me dry." I'm like, what?
It was so weird.
I get it, it's vampires, okay.
The film, I don't know. This film was shit.
Yeah, it's not good. The last, like, the fight sequence it felt like it lasted for half an hour.
Do you
I
think
think it did?
Yeah.
Do you think so? There was definitely improvement on the camera work with like certain shots.
Certain shots.
Well, I think it was just improved upon just by doing that. The set location, I'd say, was terrible because it did not have anything to do with the two other films in the trilogy.
The bar looks completely different.
Yeah. You just couldn't get that same set.
I understand,
Couldn't afford it.
yeah.
It's like the bar in the first film is massive, like it has a huge scope, but in this film it literally just looks like a small normal bar that you just go to anywhere.
Because the third one, it looks a lot different, which is understandable because the third one is a prequel.
Yeah.
This one directly references the Gecko brothers because, spoiler alert, the sheriff who was killed at the beginning of the first one by Richie is like his son or something is in the second one.
Yeah. So it's set after the first one.
Yeah. But it's just, the whole standoff, the second half of the movie, just where they all five of the like vampires walk outside of the bank, and all the cops are turned around facing the billboard, and then they turn back and they're like, "Oh shit!" They're all standing there with guns.
Mm-hmm. They're like, "Don't worry, guys. We've got these vampires on the run. The sun's out. It's on our side." And then just suddenly an eclipse happens. They're like, "Oh, we can go outside now."
And it stays there.
Yeah. So like quickly moves in front of the moon, stays there for like 20 minutes, and then quickly moves away.
It's so weird.
That shootout was lame.
Yeah.
It sucked.
It
was
was
like half an hour of the same shit that we saw in like the first movie, and then
But the
just
first one did it
repeated.
better.
Yeah.
All the effect work is really bad, especially the CGI, which is laughably bad. Especially any shot where you see like a bat flying, it literally looks like they've taken a still picture of a bat and just like moved it around.
Yeah, it looks like some YouTube shit. Oh god.
So we can safely say this movie was terrible. Don't watch the second
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Don't watch any of the sequels.
No, absolutely.
Is there
not.
what notes have you got for the second one then?
That's like basically it. There's more needless exposition for people we absolutely have to know the backstories of. It's like,
Even though the characters like just aren't a thing.
yeah,
No,
these-
I don't understand why. So they're doing this bank robbery, and there's two people that are vampires at this point. So there's 5 in total. 2 of them are vampires carrying out this bank robbery, and I was like, oh, they're doing it so they can infect the other 3.
yeah.
They infect another one, but then there's 2 of the vampires breaking into the bank, and there's no humans around. They're in another room, Ray, Bob and Bucky, and I'm like, why are they continuing with robbing the bank? There's 3 of them. They are superhuman now. They can easily overpower the other 2 humans. Why are they just robbing this bank still?
Vampires still need money.
And then but it never leads anywhere. They don't leave the bank with the money or anything like that. They just,
That's because the police arrived. They don't have time.
they can turn into bats and fly away.
Yeah, but that would mean that there's no final action scene.
Wow, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we
They-
need that final action scene.
in this trilogy, there are a lot of loose ends. I would say the third one has the least amount of loose ends
But that's because
unexplained.
none of it makes any sense.
Exactly, the whole movie is a loose end, but there's just so many plot points in the first and second movie that aren't explained or explored upon, and it's just so weird.
Yep.
Max, how many bats are you giving this one?
This one's gonna be 3 out of 10 for
So
me.
1.5 out of 5.
I'd say 1 out of 5.
I'd give it a 1. I'd give it a bat out of 5.
Okay, nice.
It's a very poor movie.
It's not good.
We've also chosen, especially during the time period we're in now, the worst possible ranking system. Bats.
Yeah.
Do you
Rest
know
in
why,
peace.
Max?
I know why.
Why?
Don't assume that I don't
Because
know.
someone in Wuhan
Yes, I know about
ate a
Wuhan.
bat, and now we all have to stay inside.
Believe me, I know a lot about Wuhan. Okay.
My
I
friend,
know about the bats.
my friend ordered a car part, and he ordered a car part from China, and we're talking about it in the gym, and he went, "Yes, being shipped from Wuhan," and I went, "What?" He went, "Yeah." I was like, "Do you understand what Wuhan is?" And he went, "What?" When where someone ate a bat, it's like the epicenter of this fucking pandemic. He went, "I'll just disinfect it before I open it," and then when I saw him the next day, he was like, "I forgot to disinfect it."
Oh, God.
Isn't Wuhan that rap band, Wuhan Clan?
No, that's the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
Wuhan Clan. They ain't nothing to fuck with.
Do you ever remember the rapper Chinks?
No.
There's a rapper
What?
called Chinks.
Okay.
I watched an Eleanor O'Neill video about his murder and like them solving the crime, and yeah, he was called Chinks.
Good for him.
But when people started saying it was racist, he made an acronym for it.
Right.
Imagine if the acronym was even more racist.
From Dusk Till Dawn 3. The Hangman's Daughter. From the same year.
Jinx, Padlock, you owe me a 3D. Yeah.
From the same year as
Yeah,
the
it came
second
out
movie,
the exact same year as the second one.
Yeah.
directed by some guy called PJ Pesh or something.
Pesh Mode.
PJ Pesh mode.
Yeah.
Robert Rodriguez comes back again to write the screenplay. How
I
about
thought
that?
Quentin Tarantino writ these movies.
No,
Was it just the first one?
First one.
First one.
Well, the first one was a lot better than the other two, so
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So this one is one where I think we clocked immediately that it was very inspired by old Western movies like
Very
like
Western
the Dollars trilogy,
based.
the spaghetti westerns by Sergio Leone, and just a lot of other Western movies from that time.
Back to the Future 3.
Wouldn't know.
it's the way that Chris said that and just stared at Max to get a reaction.
I don't know, never seen it.
What, Back to the Future 3?
Yeah, I've never
I've
seen
never
any
seen
of, those
any of
movies.
them.
The
No.
third one's a Western.
Oh.
There's
Well,
the
there
next
we
trilogy
go.
sorted, boys.
So it opens up. It's extremely orange because we're in the West and the West is orange, I guess.
Oh, yeah. the movie's color grading was just it was worse than what it was in Piano.
Okay. Yeah, it was. Okay. Yeah.
At least in Piano, they did it for a reason. They didn't do it well, but they did it for a reason. This was just like, chuck an orange filter over everything, even the people.
They wanted to make it look hot. They just went too far.
Hot.
When it's hot, it's orange. Didn't you see? What do you call it?
Never been outside when it's sunny.
California, San Fran. It's really hot there. They turned orange.
That's because all the trees.
Is
were
that
on
what?
fire.
Is that what you were alluding to, Matt?
Yeah.
So maybe that was what was happening. All the trees were on fire.
Yeah, from California, spreading over to the Hollywood soundstage that they were working on.
They didn't actually colour grade the movie at all. They just set a bunch of trees on fire in the area.
Yeah, this is going to be a very useful technique in the future. I thought you were going to say, like, that's where Donald Trump came from because he's so orange.
No, I was not.
Anyway, do you want to?
What happens in this movie?
So
I have less of a clue what happens in this film. Than
so it starts off with this guy. He's going to be hanged. It's the correct.
Hung.
No, it's hanged.
It's hanged.
Yeah, it's not hung.
Okay.
So this guy's about to be hanged for being an outlaw, the legendary outlaw,
For being a G.
and he is saved by this little girl, which I said was a little girl, and then was like, no, it's a little boy. It is a little girl.
Yep.
So he is saved by this girl, and then
What does she do?
She shoots as he's being hanged. She shoots the rope, and he breaks free, and he's like got like knives in his feet, which come back later. In his shoes. Before this, though, he is whipped by the hangman, and then the hangman whips his daughter when she turns up, and he says, "You're supposed to be at home," and she went, "I want to see this." So he goes, "Bring her here," and then starts whipping her.
Yeah.
Didn't really
And
make
it's
much
all-
sense.
All about. Well, maybe it's not him trying to get her back, maybe, or like her running away from him.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I really don't know. But so this guy's about to be hanged. He's set free. Then there's like a 10-minute action scene of them escaping, but they're just running in circles.
To be fair to the movie, I didn't mind it. Like that part.
Yeah,
It's
that
like
was
a
alright.
slow-mo shot of him running away and like explosions going off behind him. I thought that was like interesting. I quite liked it.
For a film that is like a direct-to-video sequel, like that bit was decent. Like
Yeah.
you could tell a lot of care and money had been put into that bit. It's just the rest of it they didn't put anything into.
And then this guy who's escaped takes the hangman's daughter, and they flee to the Titty Twister. Eventually they get there. But then there's side characters, a husband and wife that are very religious, that have been married for a week with another guy, and they are robbed by the escaped guy and all of his bandit friends. And then they also end up at the Titty Twister.
Yeah.
This guy finds the girl who helped him escape, and she went, I want to be like you. I want to be a legendary outlaw. And then she just spends 5 minutes berating this guy, and then he just has enough and hangs her. Or
He tries to.
yep. And then she is hanged for
She's
about
hanged.
10 minutes, and then she is freed and still alive.
Yep, that's how it works.
And she ends up at the Titty Twister.
Yeah, everyone goes to the
And then
Titty
they all
Twister.
end up at the Titty Twister. Even the hangman ends up at the Titty Twister. And essentially, what happens is
It looks different from all the other times it's
it
been seen
does.
in these movies.
the hangman's daughter is the granddaughter of like an ancient vampire that needs her blood and her body to be resurrected, which she successfully does, and then is left in the Titty Twister to not die because vampires are immortal, I guess. And like Max said, when the hangman shows up, he tries to save his daughter, and it just doesn't work.
Here's the thing. He's a hangman, right? And he wears a mask like hangmen do. And, well, like they used to, I suppose. And the point of this mask is to obscure their
now they're
identity.
just presidents.
Yeah, man. Now he's getting political.
Donald Trump's hanging America.
So yeah, the purpose of a mask for a hangman is to shield his identity, but he just takes it off in full view of the public because he's hanging this man. It's just like, you're my daughter. Like,
even
what?
before he does that, you can literally see the entirety of his face through this mask, because it only takes up like his forehead, a little bit around his cheeks. That's it.
Guys, do you not realise they didn't outsource this movie? So they don't know what the actual laws are.
They don't know anything about the Western times. All they know is what they've seen from Western movies.
Right, I've got an idea. Let's make a Western. What experience do you have? I've watched Back to the Future 3 at least 4 times.
Saw the Dollars trilogy once, and like every instance that I could pick up on of like a parodic element, like there's a lot for The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, like when they're hanging the girl and she's like standing on like a post or whatever, that's straight out of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. When the girl shoots the rope and frees the guy from hanging, that's straight out of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly.
I think that's in like, if ever you're going to escape in a Western movie, it's usually shoot the rope.
But that's like, it's fine to do parody like that, but there's nothing they added to it, and I didn't really find it very interesting.
This movie was diabolical.
In what way? Yes.
Every way.
In every way.
Well, was just shit, wasn't it? Again, the script was shit. The acting was bad. I can't, again, for the life of me, remember any characters' names. I wasn't emotionally invested in any of these characters.
There was the hangman.
The hangman?
That wasn't his name, though, was it?
Yeah, it was.
That was his role.
No, that's his
I
name.
wouldn't call you sales associate, would I? That's not your name.
Maybe his surname's Hangman and his
Well, what's
mum
his
called him
first-
Nur.
And
of course there's more
his
vampires.
daughter's last name is Daughter, and she's got the same first and second name.
And of course there's more vampires in this that we get to when we see the titty twister.
Yeah, there's a lot of new. Like in the second one, there's no nudity. Well, there's a little bit when the Mexicans banging the girl.
And this, they sort of up that.
Yeah, to like sort of match the first one.
Even more so, I would say.
Yeah, because there's literally like rooms upon rooms of just people getting.
It's basically a brothel.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
And Danny Trejo's there again, of course.
He's
Of course he has to be there.
Never explains how he survived, like when he died in the first one, how he survived to be in the second one.
Well, that's the thing. When I was watching it, I think he's linked at all in any way.
Well, I think the only
maybe
two-
they are, but like, do they take place in the same time?
The only thing that links them is, I'd say, Danny Trejo's character and the titty twister, but in the second one, it's so irrelevant.
Yeah, I don't know if Danny Trejo is playing the same character or if it's 3 different people that look identical to each other.
Because the sheriff from the first movie plays a different character in the second one, doesn't he?
Third one,
sorry. So
he's
they're not,
barely in it as well.
yes, they're not opposed to using the same actor for a different role. It's a bit like American Horror Story.
It's a bit like the Dollars trilogy, the way they did that. Clint Eastwood plays a different character every time.
Oh, does he?
But yeah, it's like a different
A bit
story,
like the
I think.
Cornetto trilogy, really, you'd say, wouldn't you?
Yeah, except better, perhaps.
No, I'd say the Cornetto trilogy is a pretty good Western trilogy.
Yeah, but so is From Dusk Till Dawn.
There's a shootout in Hot Fuzz.
There's a shootout here.
Yeah. If you take the orange filter from the third Dusk Till Dawn, put it on Hot Fuzz, you've basically got the same movie, just better acting and better writing.
Of course, when the hangman's daughter gets to the titty twister, like the owner of the titty twister comes to her immediately, and she's a vampire. She's like, "Oh, you poor girl, you've been whipped. I can see." And she like shows her back, and she starts licking the wounds.
just randomly licks her back.
Like, what's going on here? There's like 2 other characters like who are married, like John and Mary, I think their names
John
were.
and Mary, yeah.
What was their deal? What are they about?
Probably just for the body counts.
Probably.
And then John tries to fuck Mary, and she's like, "No." And he's like,
I cannot
marry a man.
fuck a married man. But we're married.
No, she doesn't say that. She says,
No,
I don't want this to be your sole. I hope this wasn't your sole intention of marrying me."
Yeah.
And he says, "No, but we've been married a week." It's like, all right. calm down.
He has a fair point. They've been married a week. It's a long time.
No. He's too keen.
Hold up. She can put out whenever she wants, Chris.
No, man, she's his property now.
What you're
That's why it
saying,
works.
what you're saying is the correct definition of toxic masculinity, not what you fucking said earlier.
It's just the way it was back in the day.
And then some random black guy shows up in this movie, comes to the bar with a very weird
the
accent,
salesman.
gets a free drink, and then tries to sell him a brush. And he goes, I got no money to my name. I ain't got a dime to my name.
Where did he go?
Died.
He died,
Did
yeah. He became a vampire.
Yeah, he ended up dancing with Mary.
Yeah.
I have no
There's a
recollection.
really weird scene when John goes to fuck Mary and she's like no, he goes out to get her some water and ends up like going into a room with the owner, who then turns him into a vampire.
Yeah, he like sees into one of these rooms in the brothel where people are having sex, and he's like, and he goes in there for some reason,
Yeah,
and then gets turned into a vampire. No,
And,
he doesn't get turned into a vampire.
yeah, he does.
Does he?
Yeah.
No,
I think.
because at the end, Mary turns into a vampire, and John's like, "No, Mary,
he
please."
does in the end.
and then she's like behind like some like cage or like a gate,
Yeah.
and then she shoots her intestines out of her stomach, out of her belly, and then strangles John with them.
But he does get infected. He's not infected at that point then, but he's definitely fucked the
Yeah.
queen vampire. And then Mary comes out into the room to find him, and then it goes black and white, and then the black guy who's now I keep saying a zombie, who's a vampire, just there's like a 2-minute scene of them dancing together, and it's just so weird. And then the guy with a fanny on his face just pops up.
What? A fanny on his face?
Yeah, the weird flaps that you're on about.
Honestly, there's just so much going on in this movie. So many intricate details, I just can't remember them
None
all.
of them go anywhere.
There's obviously another vampire battle at the Titty Twister, and I don't know about you guys, but I was watching that, I was feeling like kind of nauseous, because like it was just so much happening at one time.
What I will say though is, unlike the second movie, they figure out the trick of defeating these vampires, where it's basically hold any two items in the formation of not just a cross but an X.
Yeah.
The only time that pops up in the second one is when he shuts the ambulance door behind him and it fucks the vampire
Yeah.
up. So basically,
It happens one more time in the second one, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, T1000 does it at one
So
point.
basically, in the first one, Harvey Keitel's character holds a stick through the trigger of a shotgun in the form of a cross, and all the vampires like back away. So he shoots them and then reloads it with the cross, and that gave me very Evil Dead vibes.
Yeah, it was very easy to kill these vampires. I think they say in the second one, one of my concerns was like, how are they? This guy just ripped the heart out of a vampire with his bare hand. How can he do that? And then like later they're like, these vampires have a very soft skin. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, that was in the first one when you were like, how are they impaling them with blunt objects? And one of them says that they've got really flimsy skin. Essentially, against
So it's like,
the
why do
things
we
that they're-
care? Why do we care about any of these? Like, they should just be able to defeat them easily, just like that, man. Because like their flesh is just like dough, basically.
Yeah.
Why are we scared of these vampires?
I have pretty much the same big problem with this as I have as the first one, where I think the first half is better than the second half, because they're basically two
I think the
completely
first half is
different
boring
movies.
as shit.
The first half still isn't good, but it's better than the second half. But the whole thing's shit. The second half I found particularly really boring and dull.
I had like sensory overload when the vampires were fighting. I was like, oh,
There was just too much going on.
Yeah.
Somehow I was
Way
still
too much.
really bored.
these are boring movies. I'm just gonna say it.
They are boring. They are very boring.
Oh dear.
Although I would say this trilogy was better than the Alien trilogy that we watched. Not the Ridley Scott Alien trilogy.
The Alien movies that we picked.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Well, the music video that Chris picked.
It's a good one.
So I don't have anything else to say about this movie other
No, I
than
really don't. Except for one quote. I would not give 2 anal expulsions.
that from the second or third one?
That was the third one. It's the only quote I got noted down because it really stood out to me.
The only reason I slightly prefer this film is because of that big Western battle scene.
Yeah.
Well, at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
I do prefer this over the second one, but not by much.
I prefer the second one.
They're both shit.
They
They
really
are. They're not good.
They really are.
And I'm giving this one 3 bats out of 10.
So the same as the
Same.
second.
I'd give this maybe 1.5.
No.
I don't know.
I'd give this
Either 1 or 1.5.
I'd give this half a bat out of 5.
That's
This
fair.
movie was fucking awful. It was
Yeah.
so bad.
I can't even argue. It's not a good film.
No. Oh dear.
I like the enthusiasm today, guys.
Yeah.
Those movies have drained us. They've sucked us. They've done
We
the suck
started
on
off-
They've
us.
sucked us dry.
We started off
Sucked
very
us.
happy. Chris just got more and more depressed as we started talking about the other movies, and Max realised after halfway talking about the first one that we're going to have to touch on the second two eventually.
Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah, every time I look over at Max, there's just like another tear rolling down his face.
Well,
These movies were shit.
we got to get past the shit to get to the gold.
Which brings us
Beyond.
on to the next movie marathon. Now, as
Not
we
yet.
said in episode 1, we're the last weekend, or the last weekend of every month, we're going to turn into the 50p bargain buy. So if you
Of
don't know,
course, we're not very savvy with our schedules, so it's just going to probably be
and then next
once
Saturday,
every 4 episodes.
yeah,
Yeah.
once every
Yeah,
4
so
episodes.
for us, it's the last day of the month. But when the episode goes up, it'll be like the second week.
First week in November.
No, first week's when this will be up.
No, this is going up this Sunday.
Yeah, 1st of November.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, makes sense. But anyway, yeah, well, we watch. Basically, the rules of it are: we all pick a movie that none of us have ever seen, and it has to be 50p or below. And that's it. That's the only rule.
We've had a few of these sometimes.
Oh, we've had one.
Have we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm counting like the Alien one because it was like so shit.
No, that's just someone's rule was like, oh, a movie no one's
Yeah.
seen before. No, Max.
So yeah.
So yeah, the next episode is gonna be us reviewing 3 random movies that none of us have ever seen for 50p or less. Now, this can be 50p from anywhere. 50p from eBay, CEX. Because if we go into CEX again, we're not really gonna find much.
They have a large 50p section.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go on eBay and see what movies they've got for 50p.
Sure.
Fair
Just
enough.
put a filter on, and I'm gonna be like, let's see what we get. Because you never know, you may find some more fucking weird stuff.
Could also go to some charity shop. They always have like 50p.
Yeah, we
films.
could do. I hope Bridget Jones' Diary is like 50p.
Oh, if only.
Have any of you seen it?
No.
Neither have I.
I've seen like some of it.
Do you know, I've never seen a Mamma Mia film, so I may pick that.
Well, I've seen a Mamma Mia film. I have Mamma Mia on DVD even. How about that?
I don't.
Good
It's gonna
movies.
stay that way.
Good movies. So, yeah, Max, you can outro this then.
Are we doing the question?
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, so...
Take it away, Chris.
This was our friend Reed's idea for us to talk about films with ambiguous endings.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, what film... Are we just going to pick one film that we're all going to talk about?
Yeah, we'll keep it brief.
Cool. Lighthouse.
Yeah. For sure.
Was he dead the whole time? On his login ranch, wherever the
Spoilers
fuck
for
that he
Lighthouse,
was?
by the way.
Or did the events of the movie actually happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, fucking hell,
That's-
come on. A bit more
It's,
enthusiasm, guys. No one's going to listen to this.
I think
Obviously,
what-
we're doing spoilers for The Lighthouse. Robert Pattinson at the end.
This way, Chris, like, I don't want to talk about Lighthouse.
Just... No? Well, we're doing it anyway.
Yeah, we're doing it.
He
I love
falls
the
off.
Lighthouse.
He falls out of it. And the birds are pecking at his gullet.
Yeah, so the end of the
body.
film. So throughout the film, there's some scenes where it's alluded to that Robert Pattinson may actually be dead already, because he talks about his previous job, doesn't he? About working like in logging and shit. And there's like, is it a picture or a scene where it's just like his body there or something?
Yeah, so he falls. He sees the light and he goes crazy and he falls down the stairs, and then like he's just on the rocks.
Let's pick it up, Max. Bit more enthusiasm, mate.
Fuck you. He's on the rocks, and the seagulls are pecking out his intestines, and he's dead.
Yeah.
So the question is, what the hell happened?
Yeah, was he dead the whole time?
I think for me, there's two things that they leave very ambiguously in that film. It's whether it's Robert Pattinson actually going insane, or whether Willem Dafoe is basically gaslighting him and making him think that he's going insane.
Yeah, it's true.
And the other one is, what is the light? What does he see?
It's never explained, is it? Because the William Dafoe's character he's the only one that does deals with the light, isn't he? So he spends a lot of time up there. So is it just
and he doesn't let Robert Pattinson go up.
So is it just a sort of should we say placebo, where it's been built up to be maybe something supernatural, and when he sees it, his mind just breaks? Did Dafoe's character kill the predecessor?
I was going to say, did Willem Dafoe hype it up intentionally, so when Robert Pattinson finally sees it, it turns out it's actually nothing, it's just a light?
Yeah, that fucks with his head. But yeah, the movie's just has such an ambiguous ending. There's a few questions that aren't answered.
Yeah, he turns into the Green Goblin and he flies away.
What's another film with an ambiguous ending, do you reckon?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, the first one.
Yeah, it's kind of ambiguous.
Do you know what?
Course, me and Connor saw that recently.
Like, the majority of those films, I always think, like, it's the same thing with Friday the 13th. I know there's sequels, but like at the end of let's say Friday 2 and Nightmare on Elm Street 1, Nightmare 1, you think Freddy's dead. No, he kills the mum, comes back. In Halloween Part 2, you think Jason's dead. No, he jumps out of the boat and comes back. Did he actually kill the girl that was on the boat?
What, Friday the 13th?
Yeah.
No, because she.
No, she survives, doesn't she? Oh,
Yeah.
no, it was said, wasn't it? It was fucking part of her dream.
Yeah, and then and then he kills her in the second film right at the beginning.
Spoiler alert. Like Jamie Lee Curtis on one of the Halloween movies.
Yeah.
After H2O, wasn't it?
Yeah, Resurrection, where she dies in the first minute of the film.
And then a black guy just starts beating up Michael Myers.
Busta Rhymes.
Yeah. Any other movies with ambiguous endings, Max?
Ooh.
The Piano.
The Piano, that's not ambiguous. It should have been, but it's not. I would say, I don't know if Connor's seen it, The Lobster.
I've seen Lobster Boy.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah. Lobster Boy was a criminal case that Ella O'Neill covered on one of her videos about a murder.
The Lobster's a weird film.
Yeah, as are a lot of his movies.
Yeah, Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yorgos Lanthimos, yeah.
What do we think of films having an ambiguous ending, like where there's not really an answer?
It depends how it's done.
Yeah.
Well, say if it's done in the context of you've watched a movie, you like it, it has an ambiguous ending. Would you have preferred a rap? Like everything to be explained and nothing to be left unanswered? The main character just starts rapping. No. Would you rather prefer everything to be answered at the end and have no food for thought after? Or do you like films that have an ending where, like we said with The Piano, where if they ended it when the piano was dropped to the bottom of the ocean, it's ambiguous because you can interpret it as whatever you want?
I'm more sort of drawn towards movies that have like a deeper meaning, I guess. But there are some movies that just, they go, oh, and imagine what could have happened there. But it's like, well, I don't really care. We saw Nightmare on Elm Street recently, and I saw it for the first time, and like the ending, I was just like, all right, that happened.
Yeah,
and
that's why I said a movie you like.
Yeah, A movie I like that has...
No, not a movie you like that has an ambiguous. If you watched a movie and liked it,
Yeah.
It really
would you have
depends.
preferred it with an ambiguous ending or not?
It depends on the movie.
Yeah,
enough.
depends on the context
Fair
and
enough,
stuff.
fair enough.
Like pretty much all of David Lynch's movies, the entire thing's ambiguous, but it works well in his films because you're supposed to be confused and have to break everything down to really understand what the meaning is.
Some of them I just think David Lynch just goes, whatever, and he just throws some shit at the screen.
Like
and then it's
Inland
just like,
Empire, where
whatever.
he's just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Inland Empire. Chris really wanted me to watch that recently, so he gave me his DVD, and I watched it. And I really like David Lynch as a filmmaker, but I watched this and I was like, oh, this is bullshit. It's like 3 hours long. It's 3 hours long, and it sucks. It's so shit.
I enjoyed it, but it's like his most like
It's not accessible.
batshit insane, unaccessible, I say egotistical film.
Absolutely.
Do you think sometimes directors use an ambiguous ending as like a lazy
Absolutely.
technique because they haven't figured the end of a film yet?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're usually the bad ones.
But I think David Lynch does that sometimes as well.
What do you
Where
choose
he's just
to
like,
just I can't
whatever.
explain the ending. Let's just leave it here.
I won't spoil the ending of either season 2 or 3 of Twin Peaks, but both of
Batman
them,
dies.
both of the endings of those are like so like they don't explain anything. It just so like it's so sudden and very ambiguous, but I think it works well because you're just like, what the fuck just happened, and you have to think about it.
Yeah. Some movies are just better when they're more cut and dry. Like I think of something like
I think Ratatouille is my favourite movie with an ambiguous ending. Does he
does that
become a
end?
Michelin star chef, or does he stick to his family-owned restaurant?
these are the questions that
Who knows?
keep us up at night.
Does he sell out? Work with Gordon Ramsay?
Was Remy real, or was that chef just insane?
Who knows?
Who knows?
We are plagued by these questions daily.
Yep. Anyway, that's episode 3 of the Sunday Movie Marathon. Recorded on a Tuesday, watched on a Friday.
Yeah. Well, we can't really help that, unfortunately, anymore.
Eventually we'll get to watching them Sundays, but at least they're released Sundays though.
Yes.
That's the only consistent thing.
Recorded in the CM Fitness Mansion.
Yes. Thank you for housing us in this great abode. And thank you, dear listener, for listening. And tune in next time, episode 4.
Does Bane want to say
Hopefully
anything?
next week.
Hopefully next
Does
week.
Bane? Where's Bane?
Tune in next week for episode 4, the 50p movie marathon.
Oh shit, where did he come from?
We'll see. Shut up.
It's been hiding underneath Max's chair.
I've been in the darkness.
Hey Bane,
What is
can you
it?
eat my pussy?
Don't you dare use that foul language with me, little boy.
We got midget pussy. We got bird pussy. We got Chris's pussy.
He'd have to take off the mask, which he can't do.
That's true.
Tune in next
That's a
week
film with an
for
ambiguous ending.
tune in next
The
week
Bane
for
porno.
the
Will
Bane
it
Pussy
happen?
podcast.